So I've been following this Instagram account for a while. This guy makes these beautiful 3D renders of rooms. Every detail, every shadow, just perfect. And I've always thought to myself, I wonder if I could do that. Right now, I'm sitting in my room, and 30 days ago, I set out to recreate this entire space down to the inch using Blender. That looks so real. Despite never using a 3D modeling software in my life.
This is driving me crazy.
And what better way to start than learn the basics? So I downloaded Blender and I spent the first 3 days of this challenge learning how to make this donut. I found it on YouTube and it's pretty much a crash course of how to use most of the tools and keybinds. First impressions, it's a lot easier than I thought it was.
4 hours on day 2, and this is what I've made. Look at this thing.
It's freaking amazing!
Now that's a freaking render.
But on day 4, I set myself free from the crash course and I decided to jump into the 3D model of my room. Let's do a plan breakdown. I started off with this beautiful sketch of my room.
This is such a bad drawing. I gotta measure to make sure this is to scale.
Now I have some rules to this challenge. I am allowed to use downloaded models solely for the fact that I am trying to make this look as realistic as possible. I am going to try to model everything I can. You can get an app on your phone which can scan literally anything in the real world and you can throw it into a 3D model. I think that's cheating.
We don't do that around here.
Back wall. The other wall.
They should call me the measure man. The way I'm measuring. I got my sketchy drawing with the measurements. Let's do this.
I proceeded to open up Blender, delete the default cube, and then I tried to recreate a cube out of planes. I made a slant in the ceiling and
boom, my room has been created.
So I watched a tutorial on how to cut open a doorway into a wall, got the proper measurements, and then
I'm downloading a door frame. Okay, our door is in.
And then I spent a straight 2 hours working on these windows, and I absolutely crushed them. And if you're wondering why I keep looking over my shoulder like I'm being haunted, I am. Haunted by the fact that you haven't subscribed yet. So do with that what you will. I was so proud of the start of the model that I had to hit up my good pal Andrew.
Is that your house?
I'm modeling my room.
No shot, bro.
So I'm working on it right now.
That looks exactly like your window.
Yeah, bro, I've spent like 6 hours today.
Day 5. Because I did so good on day 4, I decided to treat myself and touch some grass because I haven't been outside in 4 days.
I just want to be good at golf.
I went to the local driving range, 10 out of 10, would go again. On day 5, I modeled my door, and I even rigged it to open and close like an actual door. And I'm actually really happy with how it turned out.
Day 6, let's get down to business. Next, I'm gonna chop a hole for my closet. I gotta make those curtains too, so. I hate when frickin' YouTubers are like,
what's up guys, Justin here with the CGEssentials.com.
it's not that deep.
And then I went ham on this curtain rod. Like, you'd think it was a pig or something. What?
That's pretty freaking perfect.
The curtain itself was a different story though. I tried to follow a tutorial on how to add physics to the curtain so that it would actually have gravity to pull it down and look more natural.
Hello everyone, today we are going to learn
Let us learn how to make easy
Let's
curtains
create
in
curtains in
Blender.
Blender.
But at the end of the day, I could not quite get it to work. Who knew curtains had such a strong opinion about gravity? I ended up finding a decent download for it, and I just pasted it right in there.
Listen, it's still impressive, okay? I have access to all of the IKEA furniture. Do I literally just copy the link? There's no way it's that easy, bro. It's the exact piece that I have back there. It's starting to look like my room.
Then I started my dresser, and I got into a flow state.
Grab this and this. This view. GX. Half an inch. I might just be genius. Boom.
But it was getting late, so I decided to log off before I could finish the dresser. Day 7, we are 1 week in. That is nuts. I continued the dresser model, threw it onto my room, and started on the desk. The desk was actually a lot easier than I thought, and it's one of the more complex models that I actually modeled completely on my own. Then I searched the internet to find a model of my studio lights.
That's some pretty freaking good quality. Normal bundle of bananas.
I threw the light model in and I made some tweaks and added wood material to my dresser.
Got an onion too? Wow.
Day 8. Alright, so I got done recording what I'm saying now, and I realized I filmed in slow-mo, so I gotta say it again. I'll go over what we got so far, okay? We got the windows, obviously. We got the door, we got the frame of the room. We got this guy, the desk. The next thing that I think we have to do is the computer. Now, I looked for models.
I'm really hoping they have a computer that looks somewhat similar to mine.
So I'm gonna have to model this thing by myself. I can't point. It's over here. It is probably the most complex thing in this room. It's kind of ridiculous, but I did sign up for it, so... I started off with the monitor stand and then eventually threw in some monitors, and I was able to curve them so that they would match the curvature of my monitors, and I like how it turned out. And then I found my exact Logitech speakers in my plugin. So I got hypnotized for about 16 seconds before eventually throwing them on my desk.
Hold on.
For the first time, I was actually going into this computer model with some self-assurance. But I discovered the hard way that you should never start off doing something hard by doing something easy. Because these next 2 hours really put this whole challenge into perspective for me. Starting with a simple cube was the moment that I realized geometry class wasn't just a class I played Kahoot in. Shout out to all my Kahooters out there. You guys are real. I started making the cube to size to my computer case, chopping and opening for where all the glass would go. Then I watched a few more YouTube tutorials and I started on the base of my computer. Then I made calculated infaces so I could eventually chop it up into all the individual stripes for the mesh texture. I thought I would show you the process in time-lapse because of how satisfying this looks. Then I deleted the unwanted faces and worked on the thickening.
What's up, guys? Justin here with the CGEssentials.com.
There's also some small supports on the bottom of the base, so I was sure to add those in as well. Then I copied and pasted the mesh to the top of my computer, and that's where I left off on day 8. Busy day for your boy Isank over here.
It's actually pretty good.
Day 9. Continuing with my computer, I spent the next 45 minutes finishing the slits on the top. But after working on my computer for this long, I started to lose motivation. I started to scroll through Instagram Reels for not 30 minutes, not an hour, but an hour and 27 minutes.
Oh shoot, I'm still recording, bro. There goes an hour and a half of my life.
I was able to find a motherboard model, which is huge. Then I cut some holes for some wires. I have a vertically mounted GPU in my computer, so I had to model this extender, and this took way longer than it needed to. I eventually did what I could and left the rest for the next day. I was so burned out by then. At this point, this build was getting me pretty frustrated. I'm aiming to get this as accurate as possible, but with me being a perfectionist, this thing was starting to take longer and longer to do.
So far, it's going pretty rough. Just all these little minor details are really a pain in the butt. I don't freaking know how I'm gonna do this. I guess we'll just take it one day at a time. But yeah, here we are, sitting in the room that started it all. Pretty much just been my studio. Ever since I started making content online, I've just been in this room. So I think I gotta do it justice. But hey, it's a good learning curve. At least we stay winning. And we're gonna come back tomorrow.
Let's do this thing. I actually had really good clarity today, so I banged out the GPU attachment. With some plugin surfing and a ChatGPT lesson later, I got the fans in my computer and I did some more tweaking to make them look accurate. I started moving at a much faster pace now, and I started to gain my confidence back once again. I found my exact RAM sticks in my plugin. Then I imported a graphics card that I found, and I did a few more model tweaks and material tweaks to match the one that I have. But at this point, I was wondering if it was even gonna look realistic because I had spent so much time looking at this thing that I was blinded at what looked real and what looked fake. But lucky for me, that's when Andrew called again.
Bro's building his PC.
Yeah, it's taking forever. That's the render version.
Yeah, that's insane. That actually looks like a photo, bro. The PC looks insane. You're actually getting good at using it though then, obviously, if you're able to do all this.
I put the last 3 fans in the top, and I spent way too long trying to figure out this back mesh model thingy. I don't know what it's called. It's just the back plate of the computer, pretty much. But I really liked how it turned out. It took a while, but sometimes when something takes a long time, sometimes you gotta put in the work. Sometimes you have to donate your time. And that's what I'm doing. What am I talking about? Sometimes you gotta give some time to actually make something look good. So here we are. All right, I think that's day 11. Day 11. Today we are going to finish the computer. It was time to lock in. Like, no going back now. I started off with my CPU cooler, modeled by yours truly. I watched a few YouTube videos on how to do curves and stuff like that for my wiring and my tubing. I made the glass face, and then I separated it by infacing the center panel. And it turned out immaculate. Perfect. I could not be happier with how this turned out. We got the computer done, and I'm realizing how close we are to actually finishing this. See you in the next day. Day 12.
We gotta do my shelving. We gotta do my guitar, fish tank, all that random crap in there. There's a bug. Maybe I should add him to my 3D model. Just a bug in the window. Being a bug. We're getting there. I can feel it in my bones.
With me absolutely smashing this computer build, I went on a browsing spree of any 3D models I could download to import into my model. I found a mouse, I found a keyboard, I found a headset, I found an Apple Watch, and I even modeled my own little stand for it. But then, listen, it was so late in the night at this point, and I found something that blew my mind. Bro, I can put a bald construction worker in here. You know, I'm obviously making the room in Blender. But, you know, we haven't really talked about the person who made the room. So I brought him in today. What 4 years of engineering school does to a man. But wait, let's say he, in the real life universe, built this room that I'm in right now. And then I built the 3D modeled room, but then I built him inside of the 3D modeled room. So does that mean that he built the 3D modeled room? Or does he think he built the 3D model room because he's in it and he doesn't realize that it's an alternate reality inside of my computer, but it's just a recreation of him? When he sees the room, he obviously has the memory of, oh, I built this room. So does he think that he built this room and I didn't? But he built the real room and I built the 3D modeled room. Something to think about. I don't think he actually wants to be here. We're gonna hold him against his own will, because that's what we do around here. That's why you should subscribe. After returning to reality, I imported and textured this chair, and then I absolutely lucked out on this Lego Ferrari that I have. You know, your boy ain't modeling all that. That is nuts. That's not possible for me. After that, I found a model of my Porsche 911 as well. I've been looking out with the Lego recently. What can I say? Although I kept running into a problem with this one. It's huge. It's way too big, so I have to scale it down. But when I scale it down, the textures are all warped and stuff. Like, it doesn't look realistic at all. I did tons of research, YouTube videos, ChatGPT. I logged onto Reddit for once in 8 years. I reset the scaling countless times. I went into the UV editor, but this thing was not looking realistic. This is driving me crazy. This file is so unbelievably large now. It's just taking forever to launch. Well, that's enough for tonight. I just have to figure out how to scale that car down. Day 13 was not very productive, I can't lie. I just made some shapes for the shelving and I logged off. I didn't do any texturing or anything like that. But day 14 is a different story. This could have taken me a week if I actually knew what the heck I was doing. Today I added materials to my shelving, and with a lack of motivation and brain power today, it didn't go smoothly, to say the least. Oh my gosh. This is way too much brain power for me to handle right now. Make sure you're in material preview. I am. I've been there. I just have to make these lines go this way in your base color image texture node. Holy cow. I'm having an aneurysm right now. I cannot freaking think. Is that all That's all I had to do. With another hour down the drain, I found this Nintendo Switch model and I retextured the colors to match the colors of my actual controllers. We're rocking the pink and green right now, so I'm gonna make that. Oh, I just made an infinite loop. Okay, well that's what we got for today. Day 14 marks 2 weeks, which is insane. Let's roll on into the next one. I got a haircut. I can't seem to catch a break with this. I thought I was almost done, but I'm not almost done. To put it simply, I got my bonsai tree, my alarm clock, this mug with some pens and pencils, my quartz rock. I turned this jar of ingredients into my jar of Florida sand, threw in an Oculus Quest, and I added my fish tank. The fish tank download didn't have a roof though, so I had to model my own roof for that. Then I got my plants in my pots, my bucket for changing out the water in the tank, a basket holding various boxes and fish supplies, and then it was time to design my protein powder tub. It does not taste the greatest. I needed to figure out how to get the actual graphic onto the tub. I found an image of the exact graphic. I'm 3 hours into this recording. And then I threw it into Photoshop, did some warping, and then eventually put it into Blender. Then I wrapped it around the tub like a label. And then I copied the same technique for my creatine jug. At this point, I realized my window frame wasn't quite the right size, so I extended that out a little bit. And then for the second time, I tested my luck with the Porsche 911, but to no avail. I still couldn't figure out the scaling problem. I then put in this little jewelry box thing that I have. I use it for holding my old coins and my Canadian Tire money.
Now I gotta fit all this back in somehow.
We got a lot done today. And I'll see you tomorrow. On day 16, I finished everything in my box shelf, and that was huge because that's probably the most cluttered area of the room. I spent 40 minutes looking for a steering wheel model. I was unsuccessful at the end of the day. I couldn't find a model for Blender, but I did find a model that you can open in a CAD software, and CAD is for more engineering stuff, I think. I don't know much about it, but there was a way to get it into Blender. But in order to do that, I had to download a CAD software, throw it in, change it to a mesh, and then export it as an object file. At the end of the day, it was worth it. I got it in Blender, got rid of all the extra stuff that I didn't need, and then I threw it in my shelf. It took me 40 minutes, but hey, that's what we call innovation. Across the nation. Participation, precipitation. My head is racing. My shoes I'm lacing. My EP's coming out in 3 weeks. Make sure you stay tuned. I copied the basket on the opposite side of the shelf, and I put in some more boxes and just miscellaneous stuff that I usually keep in there. I also realized I didn't put my microphone in yet. So I lucked out on another model and I downloaded it. I switched to the render window after doing all this stuff, and this is what happened.
Okay, we ran into a problem. This is completely frozen. My recording, oh, I clicked the render mode and my whole computer just completely froze. It's really having like a bad time. Obviously, like low poly stuff, low poly models are gonna be able to render quicker, but I downloaded most of the stuff. I didn't compress the poly count for like any of them. I found the problem. My disk C is running at 100%, and this has been a problem for a while whenever I'm running a big game or something and I literally can't do anything on my computer. I've troubleshooted this so many times. I'm really hoping that's not an issue when I'm rendering. I didn't even really think of that. That might be a huge problem.
Day 17. Oh yeah. Today my disc C went back to normal, so I started off with a freshly downloaded guitar. I finally got around to making the picture above my desk, and I added this little cool vial of quartz and my quartz bear. I don't know why I have so much quartz stuff. Most of it's gifts, but hey, I think it looks pretty cool. Then I added my Moai statue and my Bible, of course, and then my Inukshuk over top of that. And then I copied my studio light and put another one in the corner, because I do have two. It's usually not on back there, but sometimes it is. It seemed like I was barreling through this. I was finally out of the rut, and I was full sprinting towards the finale. Guys, we're almost done. Day 18. Because I transformed this wheel from a CAD model, none of the materials saved, and it was just a blank mesh. We can't be having that. Look at it. Does that look... Where is it? Does that look white? I don't think so. This means the only way to change it is to individually select each face of that model and retexture the entire thing. It's gonna take ages, man. I have to select each one of these faces. I spent the next 45 minutes doing that, but I really didn't have a choice. All the texturing is done on the wheel. Yeah, I think it actually looks pretty decent. I then had to model this one on my own. My tiny monitor on my desk. I got a Temu ad from this 6 months ago, and I tried to look for it on Temu, but it just isn't there. I don't know why Temu advertises stuff that they don't even have. Like, they're advertising the Switch 2 right now on my Instagram, which there's no way you can get a Switch 2 on Temu. It's just not happening. I modeled it to scale and even took a screenshot of it so that I could put the actual screensaver on there, and it turned out amazing. I started putting wiring where necessary, going to my keyboard, my switch, the input receiver to my wireless mouse.
I did a little check to make sure I got everything, and I found a few things that I still have to do. I have to make the stuff on the back of my door here, but yeah, other than that, everything is done. I'm also gonna put my displays on the 3D model. If you don't know, now you know.
And that'll take us into day 19. Baby. I got all the measurements for my hat rack, then I downloaded a hat model. I also changed the materials to match my hats in real life. I added a few more miscellaneous stuff that I talked about, like my towel and my screens for my monitors. And with the desk fully done, I didn't even announce that, but hey, we got the desk done. That looks sick. So I thought I would render it. I would render a clip of the desk. Oh, I forgot about you. I really want to see this guy sitting at my desk. This is what I decide to do with my free time. That's goated. Oh my gosh, I'd never actually looked at it like this. It looks like those frickin' Instagram posts that I was talking about. That's sick. Alright fellas, it has been 19 hours since I started rendering this. I'm freaking hyped. This is gonna be sick. I just hope it actually worked. Here we go. Oh, brother. It's actually like all coming together in my mind now. That looks so real. I'm hoping to get maybe 10 clips. So it looks like we're going into week 3. Oh boy. I'm gonna try to get like a full shot of maybe this area, and then I also added a few more models like my neighbor's house outside, and then some trees. Off camera, I keyframed the next clip. I also thought waiting that long for a single like 9-second clip was way too long, but I decided to let it slide because I thought it turned out really good. And you know what they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's exactly what I did. But that was a mistake. Rendering right now.
Man, I'm using every square inch of this thing. My GPU is surprisingly good. We're gonna see it when it's done.
Day 21. Alright gang, render number 2 here. This one, just off of what I'm seeing now, does not look like it. Like if you see those shadows, they're way too hard. Yeah, I don't know, I'm not super thrilled with this render. This house outside in the render is not lit up at all. Like it looks nighttime. So I don't know, I think I just got ahead of myself and got excited and forgot to add all these extra steps that I didn't do. But I'm gonna do them. And we're gonna try to re-render this and try to make it look a little better. Day 22. I started off with softening the light on the ceiling because I was getting those really hard edges on the shadows. And I made some lighting changes to my neighbor's house because it was just way too dark outside for whatever reason. I also thought it would be a good idea to make my neighbor's house look a little more realistic. Even just adding those minimal changes to the house, I think it adds a lot. It's a pretty beautiful view. Just a house. After hitting the render button though, my computer just decided to go as slow as it possibly could. I continued to surf the internet trying to find out what was going on.
Okay, I think I've found a breakthrough. Now I had my sun intensity on way too high. That's what was really making it take forever to render, I'm guessing. Cause look at this, 24 seconds for one frame? It is going so fast now. Guys, I might be able to get this done really soon.
It started to go really good. It was rendering fast, everything was good.
It's been 3 minutes, and I'm already on frame 6.
But then I watched the render, I was disappointed. The lighting was still so off, almost more than it was before. Leave it for the next day, that seems to be a theme of this. I just leave it, I give up, and I'll just think about it tomorrow. But at least the renders were going a bit quicker, and I was pretty happy about that I figured that out. I didn't record on day 23, but I did do some modeling. Changed a lot more lighting settings. By the time today rolled around, I started to become light blind. Like the computer, I had been looking at it for so long that I couldn't decipher what looked real and what looked fake, which is a big problem. Bro, what happened? What is this? What is this? That's supposed to be white. The walls don't look gray. It probably has a lot to do with the lights that are bouncing off of the wall. I don't understand why that looks like that. Whose idea was this? Whose Whose idea was this? I did some more troubleshooting and decided it was time to completely restart with the lighting, because I had too many things going on, too many settings that I had messed up, and I actually dialed it in this time. I started to see some improvements on color and contrast, but the Lego Porsche 911 was not working still. I needed a fresh mind, so again, next day, go to the next day. Next day is day 26. What's up, GoPro gang? I figured the reason I've been down for the past few weeks was I haven't cleaned my room in a long time. Clean laundry here, dirty laundry here, clean laundry here, a bunch of random crap on my desk. I think we're gonna clean up now. Now, I think I was onto something when I cleaned my room. Also, if you're wondering why I'm in a different shirt now, it's because I forgot to record this day.
Next day is day 26.
You're getting a peek at Editor Isaac over here. I tried to clean up my room, but it is in fact a big mess right now. Oop. There goes my headphones. Today was one of the most rewarding days of them all. I started with putting a light panel in front of my window because not a lot of light was getting through the window, so a lot of my room was just not really lit up. And that's where most of my light comes from. I then made most of the white walls emit some light. In the material settings, you can make the material illuminate, and that really put a good contrast between what was bright and what was dark, and it lit up my room a bit more as well. Then I added a blue light into my fish tank because not a lot of the light in the fish tank is actually reflecting off of that background that I added. My fish live better than I do. Moody lighting? In this economy? As for the Porsche, I ended up completely removing all of the visible materials on it, and I completely recreated my own materials for it. I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner, but this was obviously the smartest decision to do. We made it in the end, though. We made it. Alright, what up, gang? I just thought I'd go out on a stroll in the nighttime. What time is it? It's 11:14. Today was a busy day. I've just noticed, like, every time I do one thing, I notice another thing that isn't right, so I have to do that too. I'm a very big perfectionist, which is why this is taking so long to finish. But that's the whole point of the video, right? It has to look exactly like my room. I think this is when I actually am getting some headway on this project. I feel like within the next week, I will be done rendering. I got all the lighting done. I think it's a good thing that I'm kind of going above and beyond for this, because I'm learning so much about modeling, and I'm making it look exponentially better than it would have looked if I just whipped it up in a week or two. Wait, hold on, ready? I bet that looks sick. I eventually started rendering again, but it was still taking too long. What's going on? What's going on? Who owns Blender? Who owns Blender? Get them in my house and give me a lesson on how to work this thing, because this is nuts. I've had it. I'm done. I was so done with this that I just decided to wait it out and see how long this would actually take, because I waited for the first one and the first one turned out really good. So I didn't know, maybe if I waited for however long it would take to render this, it would look good. But guess what? I waited for day 1. I waited for day 2.
This thing has been rendering for 48 hours.
I waited day 3. I come home from work on day 4. And what do I see? My computer is shut off. Just completely gone. No render was loaded. Everything I tried to work on in those past 4 days, just gone. I need to get to the bottom of this, because this was driving me nuts. Okay? I'm not kidding when I'm telling you this. I was going insane. Now, a few days ago, it might have been a week ago. What day was it? The graphics card should be at 90 to 100. I didn't know this before, okay? Mine was sitting at a good 20%, 30%. I thought it was just doing a good job. I asked my man ChatGPT, and what does he tell me? No. Your GPU should be running at 100%. I downloaded a studio driver on my GPU. It dedicates more of your GPU to editing softwares and production stuff like Blender. Beforehand, I had a gaming driver. I mainly used this computer for gaming stuff. I was editing for a month on a gaming driver using only 30% of my GPU.
It's just taking forever to launch.
19 hours.
My GPU is surprisingly good.
I downloaded this studio driver, and guess what?
Now my GPU is going at between 90 and 100.
All my renders take, like, 2 minutes a frame, which is crazy. I then pretty much started rendering daily, clip after clip. I still can just not believe that my computer's just been slacking off this entire time while making this project. I also can't believe that I just clued into this now. Throughout this whole challenge, I've realized if you are working on a project, or working on a dream, or working on a goal, you keep thinking of the final product, and you want to get to that, but you just don't know how you're gonna do it. We don't want to go through all the annoying stuff, right? We want to get it done, and we want to have it go flawlessly and get a final product.
This is what I've been using for my measuring. It's a lot. It's a lot.
I'm just so done with this.
But it feels so much better when you have struggled, and you have learned, and you have experienced, you beat the problem that you were trying to solve, and the end product is just so worth it.
Now I want to learn how to 3D model on Blender, and I know nothing, but I think it's time to step it up to the next level. And there's only one way to do that. I think I can pull it off. I have no choice. I have to do it. I'm too far into this now. I have to finish it. I think this is when I actually am getting some headway on this project. Guys, I might be able to get this done really soon.
You're actually getting good at using it though, then obviously, if you're able to do all this shit.
I have spent 71 hours, 5 minutes, and 1 second working on this Blender project, and I came out with more than a render. I came out knowing that if you show up, if you work at it every day, you might surprise yourself. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps me out a ton. And if you want to see me compete in a Rubik's Cube competition with no experience against some of the best speed cubers in the world, I'd watch this video.